Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is still playing out the short-term bullish divergence and is now heading closer towards this next major price target that we need to pay attention to in the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. But before we can hit this price target, we are now also just about to run into this important area of resistance alongside Ethereum also running into a key point of resistance alongside Solana also now testing an important area of resistance. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video. So definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and this super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, indicating a larger bearish trend or a larger correction for the price of Bitcoin. So over the last one day, not a lot has changed on this chart right here. And the same could be said about this weekly Bitcoin price chart. Technically speaking, we still have this massive bearish divergence to watch out for because we've not yet confirmed any invalidation signal to properly invalidate this larger bearish divergence. So overall, something to keep paying attention to on the weekly time frame, the larger time frame. Remember, this is not a short-term signal, but if we're zooming into the slightly shorter term, looking at the daily time frame, we can now see the price of Bitcoin getting very close to this area of resistance after almost perfectly bouncing from this point of support at roughly 85,000. So still expect a lot of support at around 85,000. And as for resistance, we're now pretty much just about to test this area of resistance, sitting in between roughly 92,000 to 94,000. And so in case you knew to all of this, that basically means it's likely the price could struggle in that area, possibly start to see a little bit of a rejection from around this area on the price chart. Keep that in mind. That is a short-term risk that we need to be aware of. But if the price of Bitcoin actually breaks out past that point on the price chart, so for example, if we confirm a daily candle close above ideally 94,000 and actually holding above that area, in that situation, I would expect a continued bullish move in the short term up towards roughly 100,000 as the next major price target and major point of resistance if we first confirm a breakout above around 92 to 94,000. And so those are the key levels to watch out for in the shorter term for the price of Bitcoin. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, obviously we're continuing to play out this oversold signal from the daily Bitcoin RSI. Obviously with that previous crash in the price, we hit oversold, well into oversold on the daily RSI, telling us we went too far to the downside too quickly and we need some time in the following days or the following week after that oversold signal. We need some time to reset the RSI out of oversold, which means we're most likely going to see a bit of a bounce over the next week or so. And that's exactly what I said close to a week ago, right at this low. And since then, that's exactly been playing out as predicted, just like what we saw last time. But remember, an oversold signal by itself is not necessarily a bottom signal. It is possible the price could go lower later on. I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen. I'm just saying that's a possible risk that we need to be aware of. This is not enough to fully confirm the bottom is in, but it is enough to tell us to expect at least some sort of bullish relief in the short term, which once again has been playing out as predicted and is likely going to continue to play out because not only do we have this oversold signal on the daily Bitcoin RSI, we of course have that oversold signal also confirmed and also now playing out in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI. And that's the first time this has happened on the 3-day time frame in over 3 years since the middle of 2022. And once again, if we're looking at what happened last time we confirmed these oversold signals in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI, we either saw a sideways consolidation, choppy sideways price action, or a bit more of a bullish relief in the price of Bitcoin, a shorter term recovery over the next multiple weeks. So basically, this is all telling us that we're most likely going to continue this relief that we've already been seeing for almost a week now. We're most likely going to continue this a little further moving forward, at least in the next few days, most likely in the next 1 or 2 weeks. That's still a possible scenario here for the bullish relief or short-term recovery. And of course, another signal on top of these oversold signals and bouncing from support that is helping the price with this short-term bullish price action is of course the short-term bullish divergence, which already confirmed close to a week ago, right at this low right here, which is what I said back then. We have a bullish divergence with lower lows in the price and very slight higher lows in the RSI, almost horizontal lows, which even if it's horizontal lows and lower lows in the price, that's still a form of a bullish divergence. And so as usual, a bullish divergence means we're most likely going to see either just a slight bullish relief or maybe a bit of choppy sideways price action here and there. So basically a break or a relief relief from all of the bearish price action. But once again, a bullish divergence is not always a reversal signal telling us that we've ended the bearish trend. It just means that we're most likely going to see a bit of a bullish relief in the shorter term. So obviously for the last few days, for almost a week, that's been perfectly playing out as I predicted all the way back down here. And once again, I'm predicting this to continue to play out at least a little further over the next few days, possibly another 1 or 2 weeks, but at least in the short term, continue to expect the same sort of price action that we've been seeing for almost a week now. But just don't forget, of course, those points of resistance like 92 to 94,000, where the price could potentially start to struggle at. So that is an obstacle to watch out for in the immediate short term as we continue this bullish relief. Just remember, it's possible we could struggle around this area for a little while in the short term. But obviously, if we break out past that area, as I said earlier in the video, then we could ultimately just continue playing out these shorter term bullish signals like the oversold signal, the bullish divergence. We could continue to play that out towards the next point of resistance, like $100,000, for example, if we first confirm a breakout above 92 to 94,000. And so that's a potential trading opportunity. As always, not financial advice, but let's just say if we first confirm a breakout above this area of resistance, we could potentially trade and move towards the next point of resistance. And of course, if you want to take a trade like that, check out the first link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. That first link below the video will take you to this page right here over on the Pionex crypto exchange, where you can take advantage of some major deposit bonuses that are only available using that link. So for example, if you make your account using the link below the video, make a deposit as little as $100, you get a $200 deposit bonus. If you deposit $1,000, you get a $600 deposit bonus. If you deposit these larger amounts, you can get up to 40,000 USD in a deposit bonus. This is basically free money from the exchange, which you can then actually go ahead to use to actually fund these Bitcoin trades right here if you want to. And so in other words, if you're using the link below the video to make your account and make a deposit, one of these deposit amounts right here, you can get the subsequent deposit bonus, and then you can actually use that bonus, use the exchange's money to place one of these trades right here. And then of course, if you profit from that trade, then you can withdraw those profits. If you lose that trade and you lose this deposit bonus, you're not even losing your money, you're losing the exchange's money, the deposit bonus. And so obviously, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, definitely get set up ready to go using that link below the video to take advantage of those major bonuses here. But if you want a no KYC exchange to trade long positions, short positions on pretty much any crypto asset, then check out the second link below this video. That second link below the video in the description and in the pinned comment will take you to this page right here over on 2bit, where you could also take advantage of some major bonuses and also loss recoveries. And so for example, if you're making your account for the first time, a new user making your account using the link below the video, you can get up to a 100% loss protection on your first futures trade, up to 200 USDT in trial funds. So in other words, if you're getting liquidated on your first trade using the link below the video, you can actually get some of that back, once again up to 200 USDT. And on top of that, if you're getting liquidated during this event that's running right now of over 50 USDT in liquidations, you can get up to 1,000 USDT in compensation, basically getting some of that lost liquidation money actually back in your account over on 2bit, but only during this event. And once again, it's only if you use the link below the video that you could also get extra deposit bonuses and fee discounts. And so once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway or preparing to take that next trading opportunity, get set up ready to go using the links below the video. And like I just said earlier, 2bit is indeed a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and obviously just the other day here, we wiped out this area of liquidity at just above 89,000, which caused a small little short squeeze. Obviously not anything massive, but a small little short squeeze, wiping out some short positions, pushing the price a little higher in the short term. And of course, this is what I've been saying since all the way back down here. I've been talking about a potential short squeeze pushing the price a little higher, which is also coinciding with the bullish divergence and the oversold signals. All of this in the short term is pointing towards higher prices, and obviously that has been playing out exactly exactly as predicted, and we still have a lot of liquidity building above the price, which is helping to draw the price towards the upside. So first of all, we now have a smaller amount starting to build just under 94,000, around 93.8k to 94,000. So that is the immediate target to watch out for, which is also sitting right in this area of resistance. So once again, it's likely that very soon we're going to be testing this resistance. And then once again, as I also said earlier, if we confirm the breakout above 94,000, in that situation, it's very likely we'll then be heading towards this next major price target, next major area of liquidity in the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, which is sitting at roughly 97,000. 97k is a major price target to pay attention to for the price of Bitcoin, and really the only obstacle between the current price and this price target is that resistance at 92 to 94,000. And so those are the key levels and the signals to watch out for the price of Bitcoin in the short term. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the daily time frame, obviously just over the last 1 to 2 days, we've started to see a little bit more of a bounce in the short term in the Bitcoin dominance, but overall we're looking relatively weak when it comes to the Bitcoin dominance, which is actually good news for the altcoin market if the Bitcoin dominance is looking weak. But overall, we don't really have much momentum to either direction. So even though we have been in a bit of a pullback over the last 1 or 2 weeks or so, we haven't really been showing a significant amount of bearish momentum compared to what we saw back here, for example, and vice versa. If we see a bullish move in the short term, as we're currently seeing right now, at least as of recording this video, we're not really seeing a significant amount of bullish momentum. So in other words, the altcoin market on average, a lot of the major altcoins out there will likely be performing very similar to whatever Bitcoin is doing, not necessarily much worse or much better. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, right now the price of ETH is testing a key level on the price chart based on this previous Fibonacci level of support, now acting as new resistance, which is sitting at just above 3,000. So really in between 3,000 to 3.1k is the immediate resistance to pay attention to, which we are now currently testing. And so once again, it's possible that the price could struggle in this area as we're now testing this area of resistance. But if we actually confirm a breakout with at least a daily candle close confirming above around 3.1k and ideally holding above that area, then in that situation, it's likely we'll see a move up towards almost 3.3k, around 3250 to 3.3k as the next potential point of resistance, and past that point, the next significant point of resistance, the next major price target is sitting at around 3.6k to 3.7k. But once again, the immediate resistance, which we are now testing, is in between 3,000 to 3.1k. But as for support to watch out for, obviously we have this retracement level, the 50% retracement level, acting as strong support at around 2620, which is pretty much exactly where the price bounced from. So still expect a lot of support really in between around 2.6k to 2.7k if the price actually gets back down there. And if we're taking a look at this daily Ethereum price chart, of course, alongside Bitcoin playing out an oversold signal on the daily RSI, Ethereum is also playing out an oversold signal in the daily RSI. And so once again, as I've already been saying every day since all the way back down here, we're most likely going to see a bit more of a bullish move in the short term over the following days, maybe over the next 1 or 2 weeks. And since I've been saying that down here, obviously we've exactly played that out as predicted, and I continue to predict this moving forward. And obviously that's pretty much exactly what we saw back here and back here when we previously saw oversold or close to oversold signals in the daily Ethereum RSI. But remember, an oversold signal by itself does not necessarily guarantee that we've hit the bottom of the bearish trend. So it's possible that we could still be within a bearish trend, a larger bearish trend, despite seeing short-term bullish moves. But overall, just in the shorter term, if we're talking about the next few days, I do continue to expect more of a bullish relief as a very likely scenario. Just be aware of points of resistance along the way where the price could potentially struggle at. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 2-day time frame, it's a very similar situation for Solana. Obviously, we're bouncing from almost oversold in the 2-day Solana RSI, but on slightly smaller time frames, we already hit oversold. So that's another signal pointing towards a bit more of a bullish bullish relief. And of course, we also bounced from this point of support here, sitting at around 124 to 127, give or take. So that's still acting as strong support. But as for resistance, we are now testing this area of previous support, now acting as new resistance, and that's sitting in between 143 to 147. So expect the price to struggle or possibly reject from around that area on the price chart. But if the price of Solana actually confirms a candle close, ideally at least on the daily time frame, but potentially here on the 2-day time frame, if we confirm a candle close above around 147 and actually hold above this support, then in that situation, the next major resistance, the next major price target to watch out for is sitting at close to 170, really in between around 167 to 170 approximately. And so honestly, not a lot has changed over the last 1 day for Solana. We're still testing this area of resistance as I said we would over the last few days. I said get ready for a retest of this area coming very soon. So now we're simply in the test phase. We have to wait and see if we break out in order to get set up ready to go towards the next price target. And if we're taking a look at XRP on the weekly time frame, of course, XRP is technically still playing out the much larger bearish divergence over the last 1 day. We've not yet fully confirmed any invalidation signal to properly invalidate the larger bearish divergence on the weekly time frame. But remember, this is not a short-term signal. This is something that has been perfectly playing out as predicted over the last multiple months. It's not a short-term signal, but what is more of a short-term signal is, of course, this shorter-term bullish divergence on the daily time frame with lower lows in the price and higher lows in the RSI, telling us we're most likely going to see a bit more of a bullish relief or maybe a bit of choppy sideways price action here and there in the short term for the price of XRP. And obviously that has been perfectly playing out as predicted, and I continue to predict this moving forward. So a little bit more of a bullish relief, very likely about to retest this area on the price chart, which will likely act as some major resistance in between roughly $2.30 to $2.40. And so obviously it's likely the price could struggle around that area on the price chart, but if we confirm a breakout, ideally with at least a daily candle close confirming above $2.40 and actually holding above that area, in that situation, the next price target, next area of resistance is starting at close to $2.60. And if we're taking a look at support, obviously if we see a further rejection here, expect a lot of support at roughly around $2.05 to $2.07. And overall, with the bullish divergence still technically active, once again, it is quite likely we'll continue a little bit more of a relief, just a shorter term break from this larger bearish trend over the next few days is a very likely scenario. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a very similar situation for Chainlink. Obviously, technically still within a larger bearish trend. We've not yet fully confirmed the end of this bearish trend. At least for now, we are still sitting in lower highs and lower lows. But in the short term, we're bouncing from oversold and of course playing out very similar price action to Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market as usual. A lot of the crypto market is highly correlated. So if Bitcoin's playing out a bullish relief, expect something very similar to this for Chainlink and a lot of these major altcoins. But once again, alongside that playing out, we also have an active oversold signal, which already confirmed close to a week ago, right around these lows, as I said, back down there, which means we're most likely going to see a bit of a reset in the RSI, which means a bit more of a bounce or slight bullish relief, a short-term bullish relief for the price of Chainlink. And obviously that has been playing out very nicely here and will likely continue to play out moving forward just over the next few days is a very likely scenario. And as for support and resistance to watch out for, we're just now starting to break out above this Fibonacci level, which was a potential point of resistance to watch out for over the last couple of days. And that was sitting in between roughly 1320 to 1340, give or take. So now that we're starting to break out past that point, especially if we see another daily candle close above around 1340, 1350 and continue to hold above that area, in that situation would likely see a continued bullish move up towards closer towards around 1450 as the next price target, next possible point of resistance. But above 1450, expect a lot of resistance in this area in between around 1520 to 1570. And as for support, if we see a slight little pullback or anything like that, expect some support at roughly around 1320, especially closer towards $13, and major support at around $11.60. And remember, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim the massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.